Today we're going to be checking out the Hollywood Museum just south of Hollywood Boulevard, located inside the old Max Factor building. And if you've never been here, they got a lot of really cool stuff inside. We've got 5 floors to explore, 4 floors because the top floor is off limits, but there's the basement, the lobby, and then 2 floors above that are all packed full of stuff. So let's get started. So this is going to be somewhat of a quick tour just because there's so much inside this museum. It would take hours to show you everything. Now this is pretty cool. It's a costume from Anita Pointer. I just found out they're having a Pointer Sisters exhibit, which I didn't know about, so that's a cool surprise. So most of the stuff here at the Hollywood Museum is actually screen used. Some of it isn't. Some of the things here are replicas, but like I said, a lot of it are screen used props and costumes. And as you can see, there's so much stuff here to look at. They really cram a lot of stuff in here. I swear every time I come here, I see something new because there's just so much. You're always finding new stuff. Now, this is really cool. I know a lot of you 80s fans out there really love V. So it's really cool that they have this. You don't really see a lot of stuff from V very often. We got this Ghostbusters room. I don't know, not really a lot going on in here. They've got a couple of posters, and then they're projecting some scenes from the movie up here on the wall. One of the things that you'll find here on the lobby level is some of the original Max Factor dressing rooms. And even inside each one of these dressing rooms, there's a ton of stuff to explore. I mean, you can spend a lot of time just in these dressing rooms looking around. So this over here is actually pretty terrifying. This is called the Beauty Calibration Machine, and I guess they would put this on your head and shove some spikes into your skull, and somehow it would help them figure out how to do your makeup. You can see right here they have the posters for the Pointer Sisters exhibit, and they still have their Back to the Future exhibit, so let's head upstairs. You can see even as you're just walking up the stairs, there's a ton of stuff on the walls to look at. There's so much to see here. So this is the 3rd floor, and this is where they have the Back to the Future exhibit. And you can already see what I'm talking about. There is so much stuff in here. It would take forever to show you everything. So we're just going to kind of do a general look. And not only Back to the Future stuff in here. Here's some of the old superhero costumes. Here's something pretty cool. Some of the costumes from The Running Man. And there's Arnie himself.
We leave enough room for my fist because I'm going to ram it into your stomach.
Bunch of different Back to the Future items in here. Now, I don't think any of the items in this particular case were screen used items. Just a lot of different Back to the Future products. But lots of cool stuff in here. Here's some of the hoverboards. And then the original Batmobile. Definitely my favorite out of all the Batmobiles, and in general, the Adam West Batman is my favorite. One of the DeLoreans, and one of Marty's costumes, and Lorraine's costumes. And then, I don't know if you can see it because of the glare from the lights, but we got Marty on a hoverboard, and the Toyota 4x4. This right here is the original screen-used time circuit. And then also the original screen-used Mr. Fusion, which they turned into a lamp. And how cool is this? This is the phone that Commissioner Gordon would use to communicate with Batman, and it's signed by Burt Ward and Adam West. Really cool. Lots of different Batman artifacts in this case. And what is this? From one of my favorite 80s TV shows of all time, Different Strokes. Looks like they have a couple of the original costume pieces, jackets worn by Willis and Arnold. How cool is that? And that brings us to the best thing in this entire museum, what brought us here originally many years ago and what's continued to bring us back. Not only do they have one of Pee Wee Herman's original suits, but they also have his bike from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Now, like I said, this is what originally brought us here many years ago. We read somewhere that they had this here on display, so we came here just to see this, and then we've come here multiple times over the years to revisit it. And I could stand here all day looking at this bike. It is so awesome. Now, I've definitely been a huge Pee Wee Herman fan for most of my life, starting with Pee Wee's Big Adventure. I used to watch Pee Wee's Playhouse religiously, and then Big Top Pee Wee and the Cheech and Chong movies he was in, and then later Pee Wee's Big Holiday. Just anything that had to do with Pee Wee Herman, I was all about it and never grew out of it. Still a huge Pee Wee Herman fan. Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox's director's chairs from Back to the Future Part 2. And you can see right there it says, Michael J. Fox, Roller of Eyeballs. Some of the newspapers from Back to the Future. And again, you could spend probably the entire day just looking at all of the Back to the Future stuff that they have here. There is so much to see. Like every other kid that grew up in the 80s, I wanted a hoverboard so bad. And I never stopped believing deep in my heart that one day they would release them. But obviously that wasn't true. All right, so let's head down to the second floor. I believe that's where they have the Ghostbusters exhibit. And here it is, the Ghostbusters exhibit featuring stuff from all of the Ghostbusters movies. You can see they have one of the cars and some of the costumes. And then over here, just like with the Back to the Future exhibit, I would say most of the stuff on this side isn't necessarily stuff that was used in the movies, but just a lot of different products from all the different movies and the real Ghostbusters cartoon. But over here, we do have some of the screen-used props from the movies, like this hat that was worn by Rick Moranis. Really cool. And then this is the screen-used utility belt from Winston. Also, the screen-used toaster from Part 2. And this is really awesome. One of the cars that was crushed by the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That is so awesome. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think that this was a screen-used car. I know there was a few of them, so I don't know. I could be wrong on that. I know one of the cars is over at Sony. So yeah, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. And then over on this side is the Pointer Sisters exhibit, which appears to mostly be a lot of costumes. Now, I really like the Pointer Sisters. They have a lot of great songs. I wouldn't consider myself like a mega fan or anything. I didn't know that they had so many elaborate costumes. So yeah, this is really cool. And then over here they have a couple of costumes and they're playing the music video and the song from Beverly Hills Cop. I gotta say, this is probably my favorite costume out of all the ones here. I mean, look at this. Super 80s looking. Really cool. So this is a cassette deck in a road case that they could bring with them out on the road, full of a bunch of different cassette tapes. And you can see right here, a couple of different Phil Collins tapes and Prince 1999. They know what's up. And right here, this is one of Egon's jumpsuits. I'm sure there was quite a few of them, but really cool to see this in person. All right, so we're now heading down to the basement, and this is where they keep all of the horror stuff. As soon as we enter into the basement and we round the corner, they have some of the costumes from Halloween 4. Very creepy. Just like all the other levels, there is a ton of stuff crammed into here. You could spend hours in here just looking at all of the different artifacts that they have. Again, this is just kind of a general, I'm giving you just a quick tour, kind of looking at everything. We don't really have time to examine each and every piece, but lots of cool stuff in here. Of course, a piece from one of the Friday the 13th movies. And Elvira. Some of the costumes from The Walking Dead. Now this is really cool. I don't know that I would consider this a horror piece, but this is one of the large dog puppets that they used in The Sandlot. That's really cool. And from the original Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, everybody's favorite monster, Freddy Krueger. All right, maybe not everybody's favorite, but most people love Freddy. Now, this is probably one of the coolest set pieces that they have here. This is the set from Silence of the Lambs. This is where you would walk into the jail, and the guard would be sitting right here behind the desk. And then you would move into all of the cells. You have to walk down this long, creepy hallway past all of the cells. So as you first enter the hallway, the first cell is a padded cell. And I think you used to be able to go all the way in. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I remember. And then as you move down the hallway, the next cell has some stuff in it from the movie Red Dragon. And then this is the infamous cell of Miggs, who was Hannibal Lecter's next door neighbor. And they have a picture of him sitting here with his quotes. And, well, maybe we shouldn't show that. They even have a chair sitting out here, just like the one that they placed for Clarice so she could sit down and have a conversation with Dr. Lecter. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's really creepy being in here. It's got a super creepy vibe.
With some fava beans and nice.
They've got Hannibal's mask over here on the table. And, they've got the whole cell dressed up like it was for the movie. I mean, of course, it didn't have that picture. Well, that's going to do it for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.